welcome to the finale of season two of Not Your Average Joe. So, you may be wondering, why are you dressed up? Why are you in a nice black dress shirt and a white tie? And that is because I decided that I am going to dress up for episode 50. This is episode 50, guys. I can't believe that we've made it to episode 50. This is huge, and I can't believe I've made it this far. A lot of craziness has happened as far as getting to this point, and a lot of good things for sure has happened, but there has been a few bumps on the road, which I will talk about because today's episode is on self-reflection. So, self-reflection, I think, is super important to have. It's something that we should evaluate within ourselves, not only here at the end of the year. I know a lot of people like to have this idea of New Year's resolutions, and they think of all these things that they need to do or should do. And in reality, it doesn't shouldn't have to start on January 1st. Like it should start tomorrow. It should start today. It should start right now. It starts in any time you want it to start. So, just don't make New Year's resolutions that you're not going to follow through with. I think that's important to quit making yourself promises that you aren't going to do or that you're not going to follow through with. And I will cover a little bit more on that later because I have a little bit to discuss on that regarding my own self-reflection. So, so yeah, there's that. And then, I think it's important to, have these self-reflection moments because there are things that I may be doing wrong. There may be things that I need to improve on. So I am going to talk about that as well. And I think that's just important to do daily because there are, things that we do on a daily basis that we may need to look on and realize, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe I should stop doing XYZ, all of these different points. So yeah, I'm definitely going to cover that here on my podcast as well. So, but first, before I talk about the improvements and all of that as far as self-reflection, I kind of want to talk about why I started this podcast. So, back in May, I had the opportunity to go to Ireland and I was on a group travel trip. It was called EF Ultimate, and I got to travel throughout different parts of Ireland with about maybe 25 people. And I had an amazing time because of those people on that trip. Most of them were friendly. There were a few that I didn't really have a connection with, but that's okay. Not everybody has a connection with every single person on a group trip. But I got to, have that experience of going to Ireland and traveling, which is something that I love. As you can see here in my background, I love to travel. And I need to actually put up some more pictures because none of these pictures are from 2022. They're all from 2021 and 2020 and years, years back. So, so yeah, I love to travel. And when I came back from Ireland, I started having this I guess just in my heart I started having this calling. I didn't realize it was really a calling. I took it at first as an interest and something an idea that I wanted to do just because I feel like I know so many people throughout this nation and even in the world. I know people that live outside of the US and I thought like how cool would it be to get to talk to these people and to hear their perspectives on different topics and to get to grow even more in my friendship with that person. So I decided to, take on this journey of podcasting. And it took a little bit for me to kind of get over the nerves. I still get nervous. If you hear me saying a lot or you hear me rambling on about something, it's more than likely it's because I still get the nerves. just because growing up, I've always been the shy kind of guy and not really had many people talk to me. A lot of it was probably due to me, because I don't know if I had like, I don't know, like just scared to talk to people, or scared of being rejected, and not having friendships with people. I'm not really sure. I mean, I know there's a lot to dig in there, but I grew up really quiet, really shy, and to the point to where I even got voted like the quietest person in our senior class. That was bizarre. It's like they probably intentionally made that category just for me, because I wondered, did they even have that anymore? Do they even have that category even after I graduated? But hey, I was known for something. So I was known for being really quiet and not really talkative. And and obviously my class knew that about me. So I thought this would be an opportunity for people to get to see a different side of who Joel Vance actually is. Joel is more than just a quiet guy, and he's more than just your average Joe. So that's why I decided to come up with the name Not Your Average Joel, just to kind of play off the Not Your Average Joe, uh, phrase. So I thought that would be, a little fun to play with, and Not Your Average Joel was born. So I started reaching out to different people, from all over the US and the world about joining my podcast. I had a lot of interest, a lot of people that wanted to be on my podcast. And I did my first recording on, I don't remember the exact day, but I remember it was in May. It was towards the mid to late May that I started doing my recordings. And, I talk about different topics, a lot of hard topics, a lot of intense topics, but I also get the opportunity to talk about some fun topics too, making my podcast fun and all of that. So I don't want my podcast to only be super serious. But but earlier I was talking about this being a calling. And to be honest, like I already mentioned here a couple minutes ago, I just I didn't really think about it as a calling. I thought about it as an idea, or just, I don't know, just a hobby that I wanted to do. But I truly feel like now, looking back on it, um, here 8 months later, no, 7 months later, is is that this is a calling that God has given me, um, for different reasons, which I'm going to explain here in a little bit. So so that's why I wanted to do this this podcast, is for people to get to see a different side of me, for me to get to reconnect and talk to different people from all around the world about different topics that I think are interesting and that need to be addressed. So I've had the opportunity to get to talk to around 30 guests. I can't believe I'm saying that. 30 guests. That's a lot for 50 episodes, 30 people on my podcast. And a lot of those people came back a second time, third time, fourth time. Some people are even on their seventh time here. And I think that's just amazing. And I appreciate that support and that loyalty that people give to me. I mean, loyalty not meaning like you owe your allegiance to me, but I mean like loyalty just meaning that friendship loyalty, like that support that, I can count on you to show up when I ask you, if you're able to show up and you say yes and you actually do show up. I think that's very telling of the kind of character and the kind of person that they are. So I appreciate those that continually show up for me and say that they're going to be here when they're going to be here. So thank y'all for that. You know who you are. There's a few of y'all out there, and I truly appreciate that. But there are many people that have been on my podcast. Yeah, 30 guests. That's amazing. Some of these people are family. I'm glad that I've had family that have been on here and been able to support my podcast. And then I've had friends that I haven't seen in a long time. Um, whether it's been years, months, It's been some time that I've seen some of these people, and it's good to get to reconnect with them through here. And I think that's just beautiful. That's a great thing about technology is that we're able to reconnect in a way that you probably couldn't if it was 20 years ago. I mean, or even here not too long ago, like the idea of Zoom and Microsoft Teams. It didn't really get too big until here in recent times. So I definitely just appreciate all of y'all. 9 states are represented. I can't believe people from 9 different states have spoken here on this channel. There have been people from, of course, Alabama. There's been people from Georgia. There's been, South Carolina, North Carolina. There's been New Mexico, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Idaho, and then there's one more. What is that last one? Ooh, let's see. Uh, oh, Virginia. That's the last one. Virginia is the last one. So, 9 different states. That's been amazing to see. And then even one of my guests is from outside the country too. So I got to speak to a guest from London. That was pretty awesome, getting to have that experience of talking to somebody in a whole different time zone, 6 hours ahead of me, whole different continent, whole different country. And I just think it was just amazing to get to have that opportunity. And he's actually going to be back in future podcast episodes, as well as many of those guests that I've mentioned from different states. So I look forward to having everybody back in season 3 or season 4 or however long this journey goes. Right now, I feel like I want to at least get to season 4 and then just see where God's going to take me. So now that I bring God into the equation, I want to talk about some challenges that I went through with this podcast. So here, not too long ago, actually, like after episode 40 or something like that, around that time, I had some bumps on the road that I'll go ahead and talk about. So I had some negative criticism that was you know, shown, that was told to me that I had some things that I need to improve on. And at the time, I was kind of not being very receptive or not really taking it in like I should, as a content creator. And I kind of took offense to it. But there are some things that I do need to improve on, which I will cover here in a little bit. But that one like criticism that I got, I've had more than one, but that was like one that kind of really hit me that I kind of took personal. That hit me and it kind of had me playing a mind game with myself. And that's where Satan came into play. And as people know, people should know by now, my faith is very important to me. Um, I have a relationship with Jesus Christ and I love Jesus Christ and I want to improve on that in every way possible and I just know that um I call this a calling because I didn't realize in season 2 how much I was going to bring up the name of Jesus. Season 1 I did talk about my faith, but I didn't talk about it as much until season 2. And originally, when I started thinking about this idea of podcasting, I knew that I wanted people to know that I'm a Christian, but I didn't know that I was going to talk so much about my faith and talk so much about um, how God can be a part of a lot of these topics. And that just hit me and it made me realize that wow, like this is probably my way of presenting the gospel to people. And me being shy and a little bit timid, even to this day, I still have my moments. the idea of presenting the gospel in person can be a little intimidating, can be a little scary because there comes rejection, there comes people getting in your face, there comes the idea of persecution, not really here in America, the persecution that you may get in other countries where you may be killed for your faith. But I guess what I mean is persecution just meaning like being talked down to, being mocked, being made fun of, and all of these things. And so yeah, that it could be kind of hard to do it in person, and it could even be hard doing it here on the podcast. But I think it's just super important to talk about it because I feel like this is just my calling. I've always wondered what is the purpose, of my life. Sometimes, I wonder like what is my purpose? Like as far as the for God's glory, like what can I do for his kingdom that can impact other people? And with technology, the good side of technology being getting to use Zoom and Microsoft Teams, that brought me to this idea that turned into a calling to do Not Your Average Joel podcast. And this has been an opportunity for me to get to present the gospel, for me to get to talk to people from different religions that, or some people that maybe used to be Christian that are no longer Christian, that I'm able to just hopefully just change somebody's life for the better. And, I hope that, one day this will impact somebody, and maybe it will, maybe it won't, but just knowing that I'm giving it my best effort and that I am trying, I think that's something I want to make God proud. Not saying it out of work-based salvation because you can't save yourself through works, but just saying it as in like I know that I'm a sinner and I know that I have so much work so much to work on in my life. And I definitely want to talk about the improvements that I want to do better on with this podcast, as well as just my personal life. But to be honest, I almost quit this podcast after I received that negative criticism. And some of it had to do with that. Some of it had to do with just personal things going in my mind, with Satan, because there's some things about this podcast that I have been looking at and kind of had the wrong attitude about. Like I started noticing, I keep noticing that I have like a low amount of views on my YouTube, as well as like low amount of plays, like when it comes to like my podcast streaming platforms. So there's that. And then also I've had guests originally, like way back before I even started the podcast, tell me, "Oh, like I can't wait to do the podcast. So, I want to do this, 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 this." And some people sign up for many topics, and I think that's amazing. But but as time goes by, I try to get them to do it with me, and then turns out at the end of the day, they really never wanted to do it in the first place, I guess, or they just had a change of heart and they ended up having to tell me after I kind of got it out of them because it's been months and I've been trying to get to do one for you and it's never a right time to do it. And they end up just having to tell me I don't want to do it anymore. And that kind of got discouraging, along with the guests that tell me that they are going to be available for a certain time and then they just bail on me at the last second. Sometimes I'm just waiting and waiting for them to answer me, and then I end up getting ghosted basically by these people. Some of these are people that have signed up for many topics, and I think that just kind of hit hard for me because I haven't. I mean, not that I'm looking for popularity, but like, I definitely was not the one that people wanted to hang out with. And I guess when I started asking people to do this podcast with me, everybody seemed excited. People even from school that I never really got to connect with back in the school days. Um, a lot of people were really interested, and it just really boosted my, I guess, self-esteem, or it just boosted um joy and excitement for this podcast. And time after time I started getting many people, stop with the podcast. And, some people tell me they're still interested, but they're going through personal things in their life, which makes total sense. But I guess when I don't know that you're going through something personal, it makes it seem like I am being ghosted. So I guess, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when it comes to improvements, because there are things that I can improve on when it comes to those kind of moments. But but before I get to the improvements, I just wanted to talk quickly about how, how I talk about the name of Jesus. And of course we know Satan doesn't like that. Satan doesn't like when the name of Jesus is being spoken about. And he will do anything that he can to get in that way, to get in your way, and to throw obstacles in your way, and to fully make you give up. And I almost did. And it took some people to really encourage me and motivate me to continue on with this. And and here I am. And I think at that point, once I started getting that encouragement and motivation, I think I really got it. Like it really hit my head that this is a calling. This isn't just a hobby. This isn't just something to do for fun. This is a calling. And not saying that every single situation, every single topic doesn't have to be about God and Jesus, because some topics I didn't intend for it to be that way. But I just think I start thinking about the Bible verse about how every everything that you should do, whether you eat or drink, give glory to God. And I know that's somewhere in the New Testament. I'm not going to say exactly where because, to be honest, I forgot. And but I just remember hearing that verse and just knowing how important that is, and to give God glory through every episode. And even if I'm not talking about God in that episode, just know that the glory goes to the God of all of us. Well, not everybody is a child of God. I've definitely learned that there are people that are children of the devil, children of the world out here that don't love God, that's totally against God, and that continues to live in sinful lifestyles that are against God deliberately and completely going against God. So just giving glory to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I think that's amazing. So there are some improvements that I want to make out of my channel. Um, I think some things that have been improving already is I feel like my this is always probably going to be my spot as far as where I'm doing my podcast episodes. Is here in my bedroom. Next time you see me, I hope I'll have more pictures maybe behind me and this wall back here. And so that would be cool. And then also I got a new laptop, and this is I'm able to do a little bit more HD and adjusting my lighting. I already have a ring light here, and I also have a microphone here that I am talking into. So I think there are some improvements that are already happening. So that's amazing and that's great. Um, but also I do want to have more opportunities to talk to people face to face. I think that is really a cool opportunity to get to do, and especially those that live here in Alabama. I think that would be great to do some, face to face topic, talking and all of that. And yeah, I think that would be really cool to do at some point. But yeah, right now, most of my podcast episodes are here in the room. talking to somebody via Zoom. But I think improving, I do want to expand my locations and where I do my podcast episodes. I mean, I've been able to go to a friend's apartment. I've been able to do episodes at Panama City Beach, Florida, that I did a vacation episode with my family. And there are different opportunities that I could take on and really just take it in and letting it letting those opportunities, happen. So I'm going to try to improve on that. Now, I talked about constructive criticism earlier. I think it's important as a content creator to really take it in, um, unless it's fully going against your faith. If somebody's telling you quit talking about Jesus, I'm gonna say nope. I am going to talk about Jesus. But but as far as if there's constructive criticism to where I can really improve on as a content creator or as a host or somebody that is inviting guests on my podcast episodes, then I need to really take it in and really self reflect on it and evaluate myself and determine, is this something I really do need to work on? And in some of these situations, the answer is yes. So one big thing that I had been told was that I talk a little bit too much. And I kind of took that offensively at first because I was very shy, like I already mentioned, didn't really talk much, and now this is my opportunity for people to get to know me. And here I am talking, and now I'm doing a little bit too much talking. So it's just finding that balance between not talking too much and not talking at all. That's a really hard thing to kind of get into. That's a harder thing to find that right balance. But I think a lot of why I talk too much is just a lot of it is due to nerves. Sometimes I'll ramble on. I'll say some of the same things. I'll hear myself, I'll listen to these and I hear myself say stuff like I said, or, or I know, or, just stuff like that. I always feel like I throw those certain filler phrases. I don't know what you call those, but, and I say a lot too. I can't help it. I'm trying my best to stop that because I definitely want to continue on this journey and I don't want people to see that I'm nervous. So really trying to get over the nerves fully. And I think some people I know, even when it comes to singers, some people say that they still have nerves going on stage, but you almost can't see it. And I want to get to that point to where I don't want anybody to even know that I'm nervous. I want people to see that I'm confident in what I'm saying and all of that. But at the same time, I don't want it to be to where I'm talking way too much and rambling on. So yeah, it's just finding that balance. And that's something that I'm willing to improve on. And going into season 3 of Not Garbage Joel, I'm going to try to do better at yeah, being not so talkative and not making many things about me, really listening to my guests and their response and not just answering my, my viewpoint on whatever question I ask. I think it's important to listen to your guests and to really take in what they're saying and kind of giving a response based off that and really validating their answers, making them feel like that their answer wasn't being ignored or was not being overlooked. I've had moments where I've overlooked some people's responses just because I already had something in mind that I wanted to say. So that is something that I want to improve on, just being a better listener and less of a talker, but not to where it's only them talking. So I'm gonna try to do better with that. I'm definitely going to definitely improve there. And then one other thing, like I was mentioning about how I have some questions that I do send out to my guests before the episode. And sometimes I feel like my podcasts come off more like an interview than a conversation. And the point of this podcast is I wanted to be true, authentic, raw conversations going on. I don't want it to be just interviews. I feel like I'm asking you, why do you want this job, basically? And I definitely want to get away from that area to where I don't feel like I'm having an interview with a family member or a friend, but at the same time, just trying to have that conversation flowing because some people are less talkative than others. It's hard for some people to continue on with the conversation instead of just giving short answers because I'm not good at the short answers. I can't stand a short answer. I want people to fully give me a really good answer to a question that I asked them, and just getting a one sentence answer, I feel like my podcast would just be boring. But I know there's that other spectrum of talking too long, and people may think that gets boring too. So again, it just comes back to the idea of finding that balance between having really good conversations that aren't too long or not too short without it making it sound like an interview. So that's that's definitely another big thing. And another thing that when it comes to balance is I need to find the balance between being taken advantage of by guests, or people that are saying they want to get on my podcast and keep ghosting me. Um, and then being assertive as far as like, no, we're gonna do it this day, or I'm just gonna do it without you if you don't show up, because there may be episodes where other people are on there, and I'm taking my time out of my day to talk to these people. And if one guest is really holding back from everybody else getting to talk, I think it's just finding that balance because I don't want to be mean to people. I don't want to be harsh sounding, but I guess whenever I feel ready to talk about a topic, it's it just excites me to talk about it. And then when everybody agrees to a time and date, it definitely excites me. And then when it comes to that day and time, there are people that end up trying to back out at the last second, and that kind of puts a damper on things. It kind of makes me have to change subjects, and it makes me have to talk to people about a different topic because it's like I want everybody that signed up for that topic to be on that topic. And it's been getting kind of hard with some of those guests that keep bailing on me or ghosting me. So just trying to find that balance without sounding too harsh or too mean, but at the same time being firm enough to like, like you really agreed to this day and time, and this is probably the third or fourth time that we're trying this topic, and you keep bailing on me at the last second, especially when you agree to a time and then we're waiting for you and you don't show up. It gets very, it just almost shows the disrespect for my time because I think everybody's time is valuable, like equally valuable. Like I feel like my time is just as important as your time. And if you're not able to make it, like please let me know initially from the initial start point that you're not going to be able to make it. Can we please do it another time? I don't keep saying yes, I want to do it that day, and then the day comes and I never hear from you. Uh, or you write me like an hour before it starts saying that you can't make it. it just it just messes up, my recordings, and I guess that's where I'm trying to find that balance with trying not to be a doormat, but also not trying to knock down doors. I mean, like, I'm just trying to think of analogies or metaphors, whatever you want to call that. I'm trying not to be too aggressive, but I'm not trying to be ran over too. So I think improvements are important, and a lot of it had to do with balance for me, those areas that I mentioned. So yeah, I'm hoping to do better at that. Now, next topic that I want to talk about is new topics. So here in the next season, and hopefully season four as well, I'm sure I'm going to be doing a season four because I have many topics that I still want to talk about. And I've talked about many intense conversations, deep conversations, but I've also talked about some fun ones. So I am excited to talk about some different topics. And I thought I would just mention a few different topics that I'm going to talk about in my future podcast episodes. And if you want to sign up for these, definitely please do. And I'm going to even post these on Facebook here at the beginning of the year. So be on the lookout for this, and even Instagram too. Be on the lookout for these topics. And if you say, hey, like one of these topics really interests me, please sign up. I would love for you to sign up, and I would love to talk to you, whether you are a past guest or a new guest. And some of you have already signed up for many of these topics, and I appreciate that. So I'm not going to read every single one because I have a lot of topics on here, but want to talk about different things like trust, verbal abuse. I want to talk about modesty. I want to talk about the importance of being financially smart. I want to talk about pride and humility. I want to talk about the idea of biting your tongue. That's going to be a good one because that one, something that I need to improve on. I even want to talk about fun episodes like laughter. I think laughter would be a good one. I want to play a game called This or That with somebody, where I give people a choice between one or the other. Think that would be fun. Talking about social media trolls. I want to talk about confrontation. I want to talk about being an only child versus somebody that has many siblings, aka me. So I'm looking for, some people that are an only child, talking about their experiences being an only child. And then talking about generational curses. That's something that's very big to talk about. I want to talk about love. I want to talk about traveling. That's something that I love. And then I actually want to talk about some fun topics like ghosts and Bigfoot and spirits and people's take on that. I want to talk about Marvel movies, Bible stories, following your dreams. I want to talk about sports. I want to talk about bitterness and so many more things. So definitely be on the lookout for those topics. And, I'm going to be posting these here on my podcast. I mean, on my Facebook and Instagram here in the new year. So be on the lookout. And if you want to talk about any of these topics, be sure to comment and try to get your spot because I love the idea of getting to have a group conversation. I mean, it's nice talking one on one with somebody, but I love doing group conversations, and that's something I want to do more of. The most that I had on one episode was three. So like there was a four people conversation going on the topic of music, and that was really fun. But I want to do more of that. I want to do more group conversations. I've had many conversations with like three people, or two people other than me. So I just want to do more of that, more of than just one on one. So there's that. So, anyways, the final thing that I want to talk about is season three of Not Your Average Joel. So, for those that care, people may be wondering, when is season three coming out? So after I take, a break during the holidays, during Christmas and New Year's, I'm going to be with my family, of course, and I hope everybody else is going to be with their families too. I'm going to get back into recording sometime in January, maybe the second week of January, and really get into talking to people again, and hopefully some new guests, past guests, different topics like the ones that I mentioned, and many more. So I'm going to get back into recording in January, but I won't be posting these episodes until February. So my first episode, episode 51, first episode of 2023, will be coming out on Wednesday, February 1st. So I think that's big because my first episode, episode one, came out on June 1st. So here we will be 8 months later into the game. So yes, they will be back on February 1st, 2023. So anyways, everybody, I thank y'all for watching this episode, and I will see y'all in 2023 on season three of Not Your Average Joel. And I hope that everybody has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.